Critical ReRoll, the podcast by the critters for the critters about Critical Role. I'm Matt, and I'm the cleric.
And I'm Dusty, and I'm the wizard.
I'm Jess, I'm the druid.
I am Kate, and I'm the rogue.
I'm Ben, and I'm the bard.
And I'm Herky, and I'm the dad.
And this is our 100th episode. We've been doing this for 100 episodes worth of time, which varies depending on podcasts, I guess.
It's been like nearly 3 years.
Yeah,
almost 3 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And we're only now improving.
Are we?
Well,
Improving,
I mean, we're
adapting.
doing it live now. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, in a sense, that's less work, so...
So we improved it!
We
That's
did.
improved!
Yeah, so this is 100th episode. We're going to cover episode 24 of Critical Role. If you don't know what that is, I'm sorry you are so lost, friend. There are more places for you, but we love you.
Why?
If you were here for cute little animals, that's the wrong Critters
That
channel.
is Tuesdays. Oh, ha, I got it! So Critical Role, last episode 23 ended with the party coming to the amazing city of Hupperduke, which was more than anybody could have hoped for, because it's got Industrial Revolution mixed with, like, I don't know what era all of dancing and EDM is. I guess now it's like somebody
90s, 2000s.
Early 2000s. Yeah.
My favorite tweet that I saw was that it's like the mullet of Exandria, because it's like
Yes.
dance in the front, party in the back.
I love
Oh my
it.
god, that's the best.
That's wonderful.
But
As you were starting to say that, I was just picturing you, like, as Stefan explaining, like, a nightclub in New York City
Oh, God,
from
yeah.
SNL.
so Hupperduke. It's that thing where they have Gnome Bingo, which is I don't know. I can't do this. Yeah, so Hupperduke, EDM gnomes, and the, like, I don't know, common use of gunpowder. That was one of the first things that we see this episode. So all the gnomes come out at night. They run home. They, like, strip down, put back on fun clothes, I guess, and then they go out and party. But they're like fireworks everywhere, which gunpowder and black powder isn't super common. But here, I guess it is, and they've kind of come up with a casual use for it in the form of fireworks and poppers and.
Dude, I'm surprised at how much they use.
Yeah, like, where are they getting it? Is my question.
It's just like freaking water there, apparently. They just use it for everything.
Because on the other continent, it's really just, from what we know of the last campaign, just Victor that has found it and refined it. This place.
Oh, I mean, this is in the future, so, like,
Yeah, I mean, but
it's become
15
more
years,
widespread, but...
I still don't think 15 years is enough for, like, something that big to become widespread. Is it?
It's also
Think
super
of-
regulated. Like,
Think how fast technology changes in between 5 years.
Well, nowadays.
That spread, I know, but, like, you also have magic in
That's
this
true.
world. Messages can go across
That's true.
in, like, instantaneous, and
You're hitting an industrial revolution kind of phase. It's gonna be crazy.
But you're hitting an industrial revolution in a world that has magic as well. So everything can be just, like, amplified. And a big part of it is, like, they already probably had systems in place to do mining to a really high level. It's just they didn't recognize this as an important product until now. So it's like this, they might have seen this before but never thought, like, oh, this is an important thing. Like, so in the 15 years where they figured that out, they're like, okay, this is something we want, let's mine it. Like, they might have just thought it was a byproduct previously or something like that.
yeah, and you're also dealing with the Dundalian Empire, who has the organization and capabilities of, like, directing this however they want it to. I mean, they already heavily regulate magic and religion. Resource-wise, it could spread pretty quick.
it's interesting how Matt's deciding to introduce this in the game. It's like Percy as a character last campaign was so focused on making sure his invention of guns didn't get out. Now, 20 years later, we have no idea what is going on with the guns in like. They said like half of the soldiers just in Hupperduke had them, and they're being regulated. I wonder how that even happened. There's a lot of mystery that's not even being said in game about it, just because like they don't know their characters don't know anything about Percy's backstory.
Right.
So.
Especially because the description are always like, long metallic tubes with like a wooden butt at the end. And like, what does it do? It's a gun. But yeah, so not Marisha, it's Bo. They have character names. It's gotta separate. Ends up buying a pack, and I love how she thought it was like throw on the ground popper, but she's just like plop and it boop boop boop. And I just have this picture of her just like, and then jumping off the cart to go grab it, pick it up, run back. I'm wondering now, because they have to be lit, so does everybody just have like a punk that they use?
Flint.
Yeah, okay.
They said they had tinderboxes, I think.
Okay, so it's like you have to buy a set and a tinderbox.
I mean, at night, all of Hupperduke is lit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
quickest episode ever. I'm glad you guys were able to join us.
That's it, Dad. Goodbye.
Yeah, no, so I do like that immediately she wasn't going for like how you could have fun with these. She went straight to like, we could use these to distract people in combat. So it's going to be interesting to see if and when they ever use those. Because they'll probably forget they have things, just like they always forgot they had the boomsticks, or like who has them.
Hey, they did use those though.
They did. They used them both, and they were phenomenal.
That was faster than I anticipated.
So, but moving.
Well, those had a much better use than just generic fireworks. There's a lot of things you could do in combat that's much better than just trying to set off fireworks.
True. And they get led by Risa, who's the small gnomish woman. It is a woman, right? Did they say? They said,
Yes.
yeah.
Believe
Yes.
so.
She takes them up to the Blushing Tankard, where they have their first kind of bout of merriment. They learn about the Hour of Honor, which once they hear that it is a drinking contest, hell yeah, they're all in on it. What do they do before the hour, though? Because it's Ford that's like, hey, if we're not going to do this thing until about an hour, then we need to...
I mean, they bought fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
They find a babysitter for
I was
Kira.
That's what it is. Yeah, okay, both of you, take that. Double team that little bit.
I was just gonna say Ford accidentally starts working out transactions for sex workers because he's too awkward to say no thank you, so he just keeps getting deeper and deeper into this like extremely advanced sexual situation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he also gets
that
hit
bartender.
on. Yeah, heavily by the
Oh,
bartender. I was
was
gonna say.
great. She kept kind of like... I just like how Matt was purposely answering Travis's questions incorrectly. When he's like, no, not for me, it's for my group. And she's like, oh, it's been a long time since I... It's like, no, wait. That's not what I meant.
Do we think it was more Travis or Ford who was embarrassed by those things?
Both, it looked like.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture.
It was fun to watch, though. And then, like, getting kind of joked at by Laura later on. We get it, and we had our first, like, roll for virginity. See if he lost it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Overall-
Travis didn't seem super bashful when he was role-playing Grog being all into the women's. So I think it's more about Ford specifically, but he's such a good actor that who knows?
But he
True,
also
true.
wasn't flirting heavily or being flirted at by those other NPCs as heavily.
True.
Or by Laura.
And Grog was always like DTF, like for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think more of that happened off stream, so we didn't get enough of that during the first campaign, I think.
but we're,
That's kind of sad. I would have liked to see Grog doing more rambunctious things.
until he got all
Well, and then
serious.
Herc, you just reminded me how much this whole episode kind of felt like that first episode of the not even the first episode, but when they get in the bar fight and with the bear and
That's first
the
episode.
trinket and
Yeah.
Keyleth, like it got me those vibes again of just like, just messing around in an inn. It was fun.
Yeah, for those that I remember watching episode 1 live, and I did get those kind of feels from that, like when they were in the frickin' bar and a bear shows up, like
Yeah.
now suddenly
And
they're in a
then
bar
there's-
again and they're having a drinking contest.
And with a different kind of bear,
Like-
I'm sure. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and they
I thought we just took a pause for that unbearable joke.
oh, it was awful. But yeah, so they are trying to find a babysitter for Kiri, and then it's Taliesin as Molly Mock. He's like, we all know there's somebody here that doesn't want to partake in any of the festivities. So if we can't, fight with Yasha, we're gonna use her to watch the birds so everyone can party. And I like how she's like, I guess Caleb had asked her, like, do you want me to come watch the bird with you? And Yasha's like, no, you go do this. I'll hold the bird down. And someone's like, is she actually gonna hold the bird down the whole night?
I like that that's her idea of babysitting, is like
Yeah,
literally
just like,
sitting
come
on the baby.
on.
Sit
Yeah.
on the baby when you sit.
I was
Yeah.
told to do this. I'm sorry, Kiri. I know it's uncomfortable.
It's amazing the level of detail of thought process that even Matt goes into when he has to Jaeger characters. Just, I did not say the right word. Ignore me.
Me.
And look, it's been a long day, and like he plays them off just as like you would think their portrayal should be, and it's not like he even just like moves it out. He's very, very good at understanding his player characters as well, more than just even the NPCs he creates.
I just want to be in the room with Yasha and Kiri, and for just like that time they were gone. I just want to know what happened in there. Like that, I bet that was fun, and I hope that like something was said that Matt could like pop out later.
It's the lost episode of Critical Role.
Ooh.
That would be
I like that
fun.
idea.
I hope
Yeah.
she like mimics Yasha singing her a lullaby. Or
Oh,
something.
that would be adorable.
Oh.
Or something super embarrassing. Because that's what I like.
I bet she was like showing her the flowers in her book or something cute like that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I'm not sure how much Yasha would actually like talk to Kiri. No, because Yasha's not dumb. She knows that Kiri can mimic things. So, but at the same time, like, it's somebody that she can talk to and not necessarily have to worry about having too much talk back.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then they drink a lot and get soups drunk.
yeah,
And so when you get drunk on soup,
Yeah. That I got nothing.
you can drink soup.
You can drink.
I've
soup.
been
Shots of
there.
Campbell's.
Soup Plantation, man, it's a dangerous place.
oof.
And so Matt has devised it's a simple mechanic. You roll Constitution saves against each other, or checks against each other, and
Yeah, do you think they should have, like, Matt maybe should have adjusted it a little bit for not because of tolerance? Because, like, Constitution is different necessarily than
Yeah.
just, like, straight up drinking tolerance. So I feel like
I feel like in his mind
If not-
he might have given her because I don't know if
an
it,
extra +2 or something.
yeah, like I don't know if it was a DC and like each round it raises because they're getting more drunk.
Well, it was straight contest between them and
Yeah.
the other person, which would mean
Yeah.
it would just be a straight roll. So I wondered if maybe Matt just, mentally would add to it a little bit or something. I feel like
course.
advantage is a little bit too strong, but
Yeah.
Yeah, advantage would be a little too strong, but I think adding a modifier to
We've got
not just
Chinscar.
drinks all the time.
Chinscar in the chat saying Yasha will have a scar from where she tried to sit on Kiri because she'll stab her. Get off. Wrapped around his
Go
queen.
fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. I'm cute. Yeah, so it was con save, or I think it was checks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
says in the chat.
And so I was kind of disappointed when Ford got to go that like this is the one use you will get out of your hex, that you can give somebody like disadvantage on a check and it'll actually do something. Use your hex. Get rid of that one spell slot you have a day, or 2 at this point, maybe 3. But
Didn't so I don't remember everything super clearly, but didn't someone did Caleb cast a spell or some sort of like buff on them when they were doing it?
Jester was trying to distract using her spells.
somebody did.
But-
No, he did bless. He did bless on him.
No, Jester did bless, but it didn't really work because she thought it was just saves,
Right.
which it didn't apply to the cons. Not cast Silent Image to make her
Right.
eye pussy and bleeding to like kind of gross out Blemmy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ford tried to romance the girl he was with, but the bartender just called out to be like, "Hey, he's mine."
And then not used the orb
Yeah.
to get reroll.
Yeah.
That was
So that was already like kind of inherent. I was just surprised that like they either didn't notice, which doesn't make sense because everyone's literally looking at you, or didn't care that they seem to be like casting spells to like change the things or enhance abilities like right in the middle of the thing while everyone's staring at you. It was weirded out that no one actually said anything about it, like the other team or people watching or the bartender or anything.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So normally I would say that like casting hex would be bad because you'd be giving away that you were trying to use like special abilities, but it seemed like they didn't really care.
True.
Yeah.
Especially like because Jester does her mirror image, and there's like 4 of her. Why did anybody stop her from doing that? Because it's not just drunk
Yeah.
people that would see 4; it's everybody.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're used to it.
Uh,
Maybe
I-
the
I
other
wonder
team
if
was
it's just-
also doing it. Sorry, go ahead.
I wonder if it's just the atmosphere of the kind of the bar. Like it's a use what's at your disposal to win as long as it stays within the rules that were set. And there were no specific rules that were said that you couldn't try to distract or detract from people as long as you probably didn't like directly interfere.
And I always wonder how Matt plays that up. Like, I mean, you're talking about not every random person you're going to meet knows some of this stuff. Like, adventurers are supposed to be like adventurers. They've gone down a path and they have these powers. Like, so how much has Matt put in the society where like you can't just like willy-nilly use magic like everywhere, like in places like that? I always wonder about that because like I think I've been in games where like using that in like crowded things gets you a little attention. Trouble.
Yeah, I mean that's what I figure. I mean the way I picture it, like most people, if they're not magically inclined, like know what magic is and can tell when someone casts a spell to do something, because it's so like visually and like audibly like apparent
Yeah.
that unless you're like a sorcerer who has like the special skill to like kind of mute some things, I feel like it's pretty apparent when anyone casts a spell, even if you have no idea what it did,
Well, like,
or
don't
what
gnomes
it does. But
don't gnomes also have innate spellcasting? Can't they do like minor image?
Mm.
Or some of those?
they
Minor illusion.
That's the one.
They can do.
Yeah,
Force
the
no
cantrip one. Yeah, no, that's odd. But the Mighty Nine are victorious. They had already won by the 4th person, and then the 5th on the opposing team was like double. Did he? What, it was double or nothing against Not, and Not went crazy. Afterwards, after they won, he's like, "I'm victorious, and we will take down anybody that challenges us." But they get a coin, and I'm still fuzzy if the coin is just for one free drink or free drinks at that one tavern.
it's a free drink per night,
Okay. That's what I
as
thought.
long as you're still champion.
Yeah. And so you have to like defend it every night, or is it's a nightly thing, or is it every week?
I think it's every week.
It's every week.
That's perfect.
So does that mean like what's gonna happen next week if they don't do it? Like if they don't stay in Hupperduke for a week, which clearly they don't have time to.
Well, I think they talked about the timing and that they think they might make it back by the next week so they can at least get one night of a free drink out of it.
Yeah.
I meant more like not just like getting a free drink out of it, but defending their title.
Right.
Like
They
if somebody
can't be there to
wants
defend
to, challenge them and they're not there, like how do they get coins? And they're just wooden coins, so I'm sure they meant more.
Yeah, they probably have like dates on them or something.
Yeah. For like the wristbands you get at events that are, it's Tuesday if you have a red wristband, but you can't use it on Wednesday because that's blue
Water park.
wristbands. Yeah.
Everyone with a green checkered wristband must now vacate.
Please don't. You're sending me back. I used to like manage the front end of a water park. Never again. We could always use you, Uncle Ook, for correcting us. We're always incorrect. Matt has done this before with NPCs noticing spellcasting. Remember Keyleth during the Grog pit fight? That is true.
Right.
But those were like
But she was-
guards
they-
that were like in the
They were
area.
very picky about people messing up the pick fight, though. For that one, it was specifically that they saw her doing something to enhance Grog, and they were like, "That is like hardcore no, something we don't allow there, right?"
Mhm.
And yes, Chenskar, the gentleman's timeline included taking the NPC from where they're heading after they get done with all the shenanigans back to Zadash. So they're probably gonna get like right on the cusp of all of the time that they have. I mean, they could probably ask for an extension because they have sending now. They can like text them like, "Hey, we're gonna be late."
There's no like. Do you really think the gentleman is the kind of person to like be super cool about giving an extension?
Oh, absolutely not. But
though?
they can ask.
I do.
You think he would?
Because
Yeah, I'm
because if they
actually
don't
on her
complete
side.
it, then he's got to send someone else anyway. So he'd rather just have them be a couple days late than not have it done at all.
Huh.
Because
Like,
he's not
that's-
doing anything. This
But
whole
that's
time.
very reasonable. But do you always expect a crime lord to be reasonable?
He
I mean, I
seems
feel like
pretty
he'll have-
reasonable so far, honestly.
I'm just being difficult now.
I'm the difficult one.
Damn it!
Shut up, Dad.
You're the dead one.
No,
I
you're the
messed up.
No, it's.
Oh, sorry, I spoiled next week's intro.
I've always I found the gentleman in his interactions to not be as necessarily evil as a crime lord could be. I think a lot of what he did was for his own protection, like with the vials of blood and whatnot. And at the same time, like if he hears we have completed it, we are on our way back now. Like, what is he really gonna do at that point? Like,
I mean, they'll be
Like,
they
yeah,
could
he-
be
he-
enemies of the Gentleman's Club.
yeah, like, but like he could say, no, fuck you, don't, you're not allowed to come back here because you're slightly late. Well, they accomplished his task. He'll probably want to use them,
Especially
more.
since they like have a person with them that he wants.
Yeah. I don't think it would necessarily be that. I think it would be more, oh, well, you're late, now you owe me another thing. Oh, or I'm going to cut your reward until you do this. I think it would be more of that sort of line than, oh no, don't come back at all.
That's fair.
We've got King Sundu in the chat. I think if they are late, then their ability would be in question, and thus he wouldn't rehire them. And then Uncle
Like,
Ook.
we haven't.
Okay.
I was just saying, like, we haven't seen him be disagreeable yet.
Right.
But we
I
haven't
imagine
seen
he
them
has-
cross him or
Yeah.
upset him yet.
And so
We're
we don't know
talking
where-
about
yeah.
a situation where it would be the first time we see them upset him.
I
And
mean,
so
do you-
what's
Do you not remember what Not did the first time she met him
called like
with the drinks?
asked
Like,
if he was like slippery or sweaty or something?
No,
What?
the vials of
poisoned his
poison
drink.
versus.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was. But he liked that. That was amusing. And as a water genasi, isn't he like
Resistant.
he's resistant
yeah, to acid.
to acid? So it was like nothing to him. Like a
Right,
It was a
but
power
like,
play.
any other person
Spicy
I feel like
shot.
would have taken that to be like a challenge, but he just like laughed it off.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that plays into more of like we don't know where his line is. Like
Right.
Yeah.
we don't know if that line moves depending on his mood. Like he's now. Yeah, it's just that I like to see it as, yeah, he seems like he's probably an okay guy, and he probably might be okay with a little leniency. But I like the idea that maybe he isn't all of that, because a lot of people that keep that calm, cool demeanor, you know, there's deeper waters running. Oh, that was an unintentional pun. No pun intended. About, you know, water, or yeah.
Water genasi.
Okay, I was like, where's the
Water's running
pun? Got it.
Sorry, water genasi and rivers, deep flowing thing. Okay. I'll stop talking now.
I'm interested because we brought up the blood tabaxi for a second. I'm interested to see if she does anything with the information that what's his name, Fabron is dead. Because technically, the message spell didn't include that part. So I want to know if like she found out through her blood. Because I just want to know what her deal with blood is. That's all I want to know. Like, why do you have this stuff? But so there's two interesting things that happen through the night, like pre-drinking and afterwards. Is that one, there were a group of guys that were picking on Risa for not having a job, and kind of made some jabs at her and her dad's name. And then when they kind of had the confrontation of like knocking him over and not jumped on him and started rifling through his pockets, Matt's like, oddly enough, you only find money and it's just this specific amount of money. So that was the first clue. Second clue, there was a young gnome girl who was like in dirty clothes with like mud on her face and everything, walking around for money around people who everyone knows has money at this point. And we find out the morning after all of this drink fun times that they have been robbed of all of their money. Everyone that was drunk. I think everyone. Who didn't get robbed? Jester didn't.
Just Jester.
And Yasha didn't.
And everyone else? There was everyone else? Damn.
Yeah,
everyone
else.
Damn.
My thoughts about the robbery are: I'm wondering if he actually rolled stealth pickpocket checks, like, and did it based on their passive perception with a -5 because of being drunk, because of the disadvantage that would have been caused with an active perception check.
Huh.
Because he knows all their passive perceptions.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, probably.
Yeah. I didn't even notice like him like rolling like that, but sometimes he just rolls to roll. So
He might have either like rolled before the session if there was a roll involved, or they were still gonna lose their pouch, but maybe one of them would like remember kind of when it happened.
Yeah.
Instead of like
Like
you
they
have
would
no idea what happened, it would have
specifically-
been like you kind of remember you were bumped into by somebody around this time.
Yeah, I feel like he put enough pieces for clues there. They just didn't decide to like watch or keep their eye out, or stay. They just kind of went all in on the drinking, which probably gave them a little leeway.
Did they do anything after drinking before going to bed? I don't remember.
they danced.
And
Danced a lot.
Molly used perdition to pull the alcohol out of Bo.
Yeah, that was
And-
crazy. But I don't think they left the area at all.
No.
Did they try to? When did they try to get more sparklers and the person cut on that knot was a
That
goblin?
was in
That
the
was the
hour
next-
between. No, that was the hour between
Okay.
before the
It was before.
when we got Bo backstory.
Got it.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
who wants to talk about that a little bit? Little tidbit of information we got.
Well, before that, I was just trying to like
Oh yeah,
think
you had a
of or
point.
picture like exactly when they would have gotten robbed.
Uh,
So it had to have been after they were drinking or while they were drinking.
It was
Yeah.
after the contest, I think they decided, yeah. Because they had the money to split up and the drinking coins that they all put in their pouch.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there were two major backstory things. One was really short, one was kind of long. Bo backstory was big when it was just Bo and Not, who that's not the conversation. That's not the pairing I would have assumed to have Bo backstory come out.
Sam's always pushing for backstory, though. Like,
That
he's
is
the one
true.
who is actively digging.
I'm surprised Bo did it though. I'm surprised Bo didn't just go, "You're not who I should talk to." I was more looking, and I know I was more looking for a conversation with Ford. Like, not looking for it, but like that's how I saw it
expecting
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And her back.
Kind of it kind of made sense to me because they both steal things a lot, and she kind of had, now we know, a very shady past. So maybe
And
she's
I
like
think-
comfortable around Not with that subject.
And they both now have Caleb kind of as that connection, with Caleb having
True.
told her about his past and confided in her. But yeah, so she got kidnapped by monks, man.
Yeah.
Because of her dad.
Yeah, she was siphoning wine and selling it underground with no tariffs and at a cheaper price.
With no tariffs.
I like that she added that part in there.
But
Sort of
her
like,
dad-
you know,
Got
surprise sending your kid to boarding school, like, or military school.
Yeah.
Like, oh, guess what?
You've,
They're here for you.
You've been kidnapped. It's okay though. I paid for it.
Goodbye.
I do like.
I like that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I like that she was also already in trouble with her dad for mild extortion at that point, beyond the wine siphoning.
Yeah, she's done a lot of not great things. But then it was funny when I was like, "So you were kidnapped by monks and sent to a library where you learn to hurt people a lot, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So that's really all we
And
get
the
from
other-
her. Yeah, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, and then the other backstory tidbit was very small, but it was Caleb dancing with Jester. And he mentions, I forget her name, it begins with an A.
Astrid.
Astrid, who was, I believe, one of the other two that went with, that were being
Trent.
trained. Yeah.
Trent asshole face.
That went with Trent. Was the, just question, was the third one, was his name begin with a B?
Oh, you're
Does
thinking
anybody
ABC?
I was legitimately thinking ABC.
I forget what the
because
guy's
I
name
feel
is.
like that was
Is it
a
like
thing
a
I thought
Bernard
of.
or something like that?
Well, that's Bo.
I don't know.
Or
Somebody in the
Gar.
chat, if you know it.
Uncle Ook, we need you. This is your time.
yes.
Did get two other very small tidbits backstory wise. One, Jester has never been drunk, which is a little interesting
Mhm.
considering her upbringing. And two, Ford's an orphan?
Oh, yeah.
That was like way later, but yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
we don't get
love
that until we
that
find out who the
one.
kids were.
Well, like, it makes so much sense, honestly, it makes so much sense for him, because there have been times in the past where they're like, well, you're half-orc, and he said, I assume,
Right.
like,
And
you know
that's
what I
why
mean?
when
Like,
he was growing up, he was the only kid that had the tusks.
because in the orphanage, they were probably mean to him, and so he filed his tusks down.
The orphanage.
Oh.
That's not something you should make jokes
No.
about, Matt, but it happened.
Nah.
Eodwulf. Eodwulf? How do you say that? Eodwulf.
Yodwolf.
Eodwulf. It's
Oh.
Edward.
Sure.
So instead,
Well, yeah,
we
they're-
have ACE, the ACE team.
Got it. I see what they did there. That wasn't intentional. Anyway, but yeah, there were some small backstory things that actually either adds more intrigue or adds a little bit more depth into everything that went on, and it just goes to show how you can turn something as fun as a drinking night into something still meaningful for character growth.
Like,
And
damn it, Liam, we were having fun. You had to say Astrid.
It's like real life. You think you're gonna go out and get drunk, but then you just have heart to hearts with everybody.
Oh man.
You end up crying in the back seat of a car with your roommate, while your other roommate has to take your drunken asses home. I mean, what?
Yep.
We
Yep.
got some stuff to unpack there. Friend circle, we're all here for you.
is it time for
Safe
our heart to
space.
heart?
Emotional support!
We were all
Hugs for
pre-gaming.
Dusty.
Yeah, so the next morning, I like that he's passed out on the pisser. Didn't get his lady favors. She stood up, he put a deposit down, which I thought was really odd.
Yeah.
With his Captain America numbers.
Yeah.
Save those boobies for me.
God.
Well, there was 3, so it could have been a little bit of everything.
That's true. There was the zone of truth where Jester was like, now do you really like Ford or do you just want his money?
A little bit of both.
She's
It
obviously...
was really funny how possessive she got in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like...
You slept with my mom.
Yeah, that was really weird.
That was, I love that afterwards she was like, yeah, no, after I did it, I was like, yeah.
And then she
Nope.
offered to, like, do you want me to come in the room, make sure they're doing everything right? Because I know what they're doing.
And then offered to teach him too later on. It's like, I'm good at 3 things, and the last one, something Ford might want to consider.
Oh, did
And
not
there's
catch
a
that
learned
part.
skill, not an innate one. Which
Oh,
apparently,
no.
what she said.
Oh, no.
A lot of study time.
So yeah, they have at this point assumed that it is either like the pianist, the opposing team from the drink contest, or the guys who are bullying Risa. And so they decide to hop on or they don't get on the carts. They decide to walk around and use Jester's locate object and focus on the little coins that they won. First use of the spell, got nothing out of it, but we did meet Risa's father, Cliff Tinkertop of Tinkertop Inventions. A little clockwork workshop. What did you guys think of like the addition of steampunk into this world?
I love him.
That's what I was hoping for, because that was like, I grew up on the Dragonlance gnomes, which are very much like this, like rock gnomes in D&D, and I love, and even in Warcraft, like the gnomes are like this steampunky, techy kind of thing, and I was really hoping that we'd get more flavor of that, And so when he started describing his little contraptions and things like that, I was like, yes, little tinker gnomes are my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know what it is, but I just don't feel like they're used enough in games.
Mhm.
Like I don't see that many people that like play them, and if they do play gnomes, they don't play them like that.
Yeah.
And like there aren't that many like cool techie little NPCs.
Yeah. I was
love it.
listening to it and I'm like, this is something Dustin will definitely like.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah, like,
me personally, I'm ambivalent about them. I'm like, yeah, they're cool. All right, but
Gnomes
I
are
know
my
other
shit.
people love them.
That is why I
So-
put
How
gnome
about-
cleric on my business cards.
I don't have one on my desk.
It
Yeah.
was interesting seeing a little bit more of the steampunk with
Yeah, it's
him
not gonna work.
versus the whole diesel punk almost of the rest of the city, the darker, the grittier, the
Yeah.
harder. And he's doing much more delicate kind of.
Like,
Well, and like how much work? Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
But
God.
how much work does Hupperduke, if they're not at war? Like, what is the main like industry? Like, what other tinkery kind of stuff is out there in the world that we haven't come across that's not like war oriented?
Hmm.
But I do like he's like a little toy shop, and like all those little things.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that.
kind of funny because I have a character who I've never played, but I built him a long time ago for a game that didn't happen. He would fit so well into Hupperduke. He's a gnome bard, but he doesn't sing or play any instruments. He created like a music box that like
That's fun.
plays EDM, so he like channels his spells into his little EDM.
He's got his
music
little like
box.
his little pads. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
That's
best.
pretty great.
Yeah,
I want to run you in something just so I can see this.
I will
yeah, into
absolutely
the
not.
ground.
That's pretty cool.
Not like an organ grinder gnome.
Little hurdy-gurdy.
As he was discussing like his like toys and they were like shooting stuff, I couldn't help but imagine him making Nerf guns. Do you know what I mean? Like I couldn't help but imagine this like toy making gnome specialist was like making like the Nerf Blaster 5000
Yeah, right.
and like all the different models of like Nerf guns.
You gotta figure out how them to make advanced plastics.
Yeah. So next
get
thing.
there.
He'll get there super quick. But they get a music box for Kiri, and I had like a Doctor Who, the midnight episode where Kiri's like singing along after the music box, and then she starts picking it up and becomes in sync with it. If you've seen the midnight episode,
Such a
it's
good-
creepy as hell.
I thought it was Dr. Hugh.
Okay.
Uh,
The Dread Emperor. So I was listening to the episode a minute ago, and he got to the Dread Emperor reference part where they're like, "You guys just keep collecting kids. You just gotta put them in chains. They're the Dread Emperors."
yeah.
But yeah, so we learn that Rasanya's father had made a clockwork warden that kind of went bizarre and injured some people. Did it kill anybody? It had to have killed
Yeah.
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 They definitely
Definitely killed
indicated
people.
it killed some people.
And so that's why he's kind of considered a failure, and she doesn't have a job, and is kind of like running from her name because it's been soiled.
But it was at the request of the people there. Like, they asked for that creature thing. I don't know. Like, what were they hoping for?
But one that would not
Kill
go off
Just
and kill
mur- on a
shit
murder
We don't want a
spree?
murder bot. We want something good. This is not that.
We
I
want
feel like
a
they wanted like automated
murder on
robbers.
command bot.
Yes.
Yeah. Murder who I tell you to, murder bot.
Yes.
Not who I don't tell you to.
Yeah. And so they've locked it up in some like dark, deep place where they have offered to go and slay the creature in exchange for the Tinker Top Bolt Blaster 2000. I think it was 2000.
The Super Soaker 550. Thank you, Metadoxy. I feel like that's on the same page as my Nerf
Yeah.
feelings.
It'll shoot acid.
Remember when they made the ones with the backpack?
Yup.
Oh, damn.
There might be one of those in my garage still.
I only had the grenade ones where it was like a little ball and you put a water balloon and there's a timer that has a needle that shoots out and pokes it. So you would throw the ball and then
Sounds dangerous.
write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a big needle.
It's like a lawn dart.
Best part of the toys from the 80s where maybe
How
kill you.
dangerous they were.
Yep.
So wait, if they do get this weapon, who's going to use it? Not?
Probably.
I assumed not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't know what it does.
also
It sounded
see that.
like it was a repeating crossbow, but it's a crossbow. It's got some enchantment on it, which I'm excited to find out. Yeah, I think Not would be the smartest one to have it.
Would not be proficient with it because it'd be a heavy crossbow, and rogues aren't proficient with heavy crossbows.
They're not.
She would
They're
not.
not with martial weapons.
No.
Interesting.
Interesting. Did not
So
know that.
that's my concern. Is like I don't think it's like really that good for anybody.
They're-
How do you learn proficiencies in new weapons? Like, can you story
it's what
that?
you do with
Like-
downtime. Or
yeah, you
the
can-
idea of
I
downtime.
think there
There's
are
feats
feats.
you can
yeah,
use.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can do
Feats
that to
and
learn more
downside.
skills, but I don't know about weapon proficiencies. I mean, you can do it for armor proficiencies, but I think there's one for weapon proficiencies as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is.
Yeah, there is.
Matt's checking the book.
I am checking the book. Y'all continue talking.
No, it would be faster. It was D&D Beyond. You could just-
It's D&D.
So yeah, there are a lot of cool things that we learned from Mr. Tinker, and I really liked Risa's reactions to everything. I thought those were super real, and it's not like I felt that, not necessarily because I felt that I've done that, but it's a real feeling to not always be proud of who your parents are, and she acted like she was. Yes, Matt.
It is the Weapon Master feat, the very last one listed. You have practiced
I thought it had a
extensively.
weapon in it.
You've practiced extensively with a variety of weapons, gaining the following benefits: increase your strength or dexterity score by 1 to a maximum of 20. You gain proficiency with 4 weapons of your choice.
They're not anywhere near a new feat, are they? Like, in terms
Level
of, like,
8.
leveling
Yeah.
up?
So 2 more levels? What level are you now? 5,
Yeah.
3. I know numbers.
Yeah, they're 5.
Did he say hand crossbow? It could be a hand crossbow. It feels like it would be a heavy, though, because it's, like, metal.
Yeah, it sounded heavy to me.
Heavy metal.
If it's a hand
okay.
crossbow, then that's fine. But
The flower guy NPC was also great.
I
love the flower
Oh,
so
that
great.
Like, all in his neck and everything. And they're like,
It
grab
was
him, bring
so
him with us.
Different. Do you know what I mean? From a lot of what Matt does. It was just so unique and, like, different. Like, there's a lot of stuff where he, like, rehashes similar things. But this was, like, I felt like this was completely different. I loved
It's like
it.
nerdy Sinokir.
And I like the nerdy little flower girl, like the one that was like 5 and was selling the
Yeah.
guy the flower. With
Tara.
oh my god!
Have we got? And it's like, do you want to make a friend? And it's like, this is real creepy. Like as an observer, but like in D&D, that's adorable.
Stranger danger.
Yeah,
stranger
can I
danger.
bring this child that's really not mine over to our house and you play with them?
I have a special kid to come play with you. Where do you live? Yeah,
I like
said
I
the
like
literal
Justice.
devil.
I like Justice's point. Like when Matt does like something that like is set completely different from his repertoire. I think Pumat was a lot like that
Yes.
too, in like
Yeah.
voices, because we get used to like a certain range of voices from Matt, and then when he comes up with a new like personality and a voice that just matches it so well, it just
Yeah, I got that with
hard
Puma.
not to just
the,
like, okay, this is another NPC for the basket, just bring him along.
the Kiwi blacksmith was really cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That
It's
was a
also-
good one.
it's also really great when Matt Jägermeister's characters.
Yeah.
I really love that.
That's fun, especially Jester.
Jaeger bombs them.
That's something else.
What happens?
All right, sorry, I derailed all of that. We were
It's
talking
cool.
about the Murderbot 5000.
Back on the rails. So they find the boys. They tried to scare them with Infernal and Jester. They're like, "What demon encroaches on us?"
Amazing.
Oh hi.
Oh hi! I watched that part 3 or 4 times in a row when I was watching. I was just like, "Why?"
Yeah, and then
Every
they
time it killed me.
they like basically have their own Mighty Nine Scared Straight like thing that they do. These kids are now going to help them try to find it, but they start walking and they're heading towards I think the other team's place, wherever they work, and Jester does her locate object.
Towards the waterfalls. Yeah.
She does locate object again and gets a ping, and they start running, and they see that it's like an abandoned meat cutter. What's it called? Thank you.
Butcher.
And
Deli slicer.
yeah, meat cutter,
Cutter.
cow devourer.
Yep.
The meat cutter.
The
Listen,
murder mansion.
The most iconic Diablo boss,
Meat
the
cutter.
meat cutter.
But do you spice?
But do you spice? It would be fun if like the Mighty Knights stopped and just had like their Dare program and started it in local communities. But no, they find the God, I forgot the word you can say, butcher, and it's boarded up, and they don't really see anything inside, but they've got all of the pings, and so they start to come up with a plan, and then before they're finished, they've already started acting upon something that wasn't really a plan, like somebody parkours on top of the roof, and then two others go around the side, and it's like, okay, how are you guys communicating now? Because you're not, you've left each other's earshot.
Things work out better when they don't plan and just
That's
do it.
true. They need...
They spend like a half an hour planning and then doesn't like nothing works anyway.
Or they don't actually do the one thing that they spent 30 minutes talking about.
Yeah.
And do something
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah, like we're gonna bust through the front door. What? Throw a firecracker through the ceiling? Dare to say no to
Those
spice.
poor, yeah,
That was really
poor
weird.
children.
She drops the firecracker. There's an explosion. So Ford jumps in, and he's like, you see 4 kids, and they all kind of like lose the color from their faces for a second, and kind of like facepalm. Except for Sam, he's like, I'm gonna kill him.
Oh,
I'm gonna
gosh.
kill all of them.
Because Sam.
Oh, and Knott's had a little taste of child before. It's been confirmed.
Not on purpose. It was just in the like random stew. Like, have you never had a stew and you didn't know everything was like that was in it?
I knew human
We're
wasn't
not
in
all
it.
vegetarians, so we're not super concerned.
When I was a kid, my mom used to trick us into eating rabbit. Like,
Oh, that's
so
not
I like.
unusual.
Is that why you're a vegetarian?
Yes, I was.
Like, no more of this.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, mom.
We're unpacking a lot of people's stuff.
Yeah. I found out that
It's been a long day. We've all been together.
we like want to just open
like
up
10 hours.
what my
Not all
parents
of us.
used to do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you know how like
Kate, you were with us in spirit.
packaged bread
Yeah.
has the heels on each side? Well, I found out
bread
probably when I was 21 that my parents would just flip it over and put like the peanut butter on the outside of it and make a sandwich so it looked like a normal piece of bread. And so I saw my dad making. I was like, "What are you doing, Dad?" He's like, "This is how I used to do when you were kids." It's like, "You son of a bitch!"
My life is a lie.
Everything's a lie. Well, I'm 26 now, and I just found out my mom has a half
Since you were
sister.
such a heel.
Yeah, like I didn't want the heel; it's too dry. Anyway,
Bread butt.
the bread butt.
It's like a pickle butt.
Okay.
So
Minor
Guys,
personal issues.
Guys, rails.
I'm back on the rails. I know this is what I was supposed to do. I like even said beforehand that I would get us back on, but I didn't. I'm the conductor.
Well, like after they've already promised to think about breaking into this place to save Murderbot, they're now promising to also look for these kids' parents because the reason these kids are orphaned is because their parents were taken away. Because we find out like there's a tax collector that's also secretly a Check for the Wrong Gods Association, and like, I love that was. Oh, what did we?
Butcher was the word I was messed up on. What word do you need?
No. Sorry, I was looking because.
Anyway, yeah, so the kids, they talk to them, and they're stealing because, their parents got put away for worshipping the Changebringer. I probably should have looked at what that was all about. Did anybody? Don't think so.
Avandra.
Avandra?
I think it's Avandra.
Sorry.
So, yeah, they are telling them that they're now in the insert name of prison here. And for whatever reason, the Mighty Nine's like, well, we're already heading down there. If we see your parents, we'll get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is their first inclination to like break them out of jail and then like go on the run rather than talk to them and be like, hey, we can deal with your like murder robot if
You'll
you
free
maybe
these
let these
people.
people go or something.
That's
Yeah.
Try to reason
that's
with
actually
them.
more the feeling I got from that. I didn't necessarily hear them say that we're gonna break them out. I heard
Oh, I
more
thought they
that we're gonna
specifically
try
said
to. I think they did it first, and then somebody brought up the exact points you brought up, and we're like, "Wait, let's see."
Reason and logic.
What? Not in my critical
I know,
role.
It's surprising, but I feel like somebody brought up like, we're already gonna go do this good deed. Let's see if we can get something out of it by helping these two people. I feel like that was part of it. And then somebody then brought up, but if we can't, we break them out. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
That
ugh.
makes sense.
There's
That makes
still,
sense.
I still
I-
bet
I-
that
Would
at some
stop.
point they're going to get arrested.
Yes.
It hasn't. It has happened. This one. Yeah, it's happened.
I was like, it has
second
happened, it's
episode.
gonna happen again.
I bet like bad arrested.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
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 I'm
And I mean,
ima-
the hard part is like they're still in. Are they still in the Dwendalian Empire? They are, right?
Yeah.
Like
There's
so there's still one overarching government of everything. Like they don't want to get on the bad side. So if they do something like break someone out of prison,
Mhm.
then they're just gonna have to peace out entirely, or else they're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe they would have had if they had taken the job with Arentha and like contracted themselves with the government, they might have had some leeway in some things. But yeah, and then if their ties to the gentleman and stuff get out to the wrong people, that could be a problem too.
Yeah.
I'm imagining them trying to do, like you said, like maybe they'll start by trying to do a thing, but I'm just imagining it turning into like a terrible prison break, and that they don't have the level of spells they had when they tried to do the prison break
And the
in
Nine
the elemental
Hells?
plane of fire, and it was really bad. Oh, was it the Nine Hells? Yeah.
They were
Hells,
in
yeah.
hell when they did
They
that.
had like crazy
With no healer.
Yeah, they were crazy top level spells at that point. They still like almost died and like got stuck there and shit like that. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
they
mean?
were-
Like,
To be fair, hell's a lot worse than
Yeah.
prison
That's
in
what I
the
was going to
Dwendalian
say.
Empire.
Like, this
Yeah.
is going to be a little bit less intense than hell,
mhm.
but
I-
still hard.
But they are still on the time crunch too.
Yeah.
So picking up all these side quests now, it's like, ugh.
Rise
Yeah.
against tyranny is one of her commandments. The Changebringer. Thank you, Jake.
Yeah, she's the
That's
goddess of
interesting.
freedom,
So it makes
trade,
sense.
travel, and adventure.
Makes sense that she wouldn't be an approved god because you can't give people hope. Why would you do that in the Empire?
Oh yeah, that's a bad idea.
So yeah, they're gonna help these kids and also help themselves to the Tinker Bolt Blaster 2000.
But I love that it
1000.
was Ford that was pushing so hard to do this, when in the past, like literally when they first met Kiri, he was cool with leaving her behind. He was cool with like, there's been several occasions where like Ford's a nice guy, but like he doesn't really seem willing to risk his own skin sometimes. Like he seems like sort of practical and like not necessarily like we don't have to help everyone. It's not our responsibility to, like, but he was so quick to like, we have to help these kids. Like they're not going to stay orphans. Like I'm not okay with that. Like, and that's when we got the little bit of information that, yeah, he was in fact an orphan. So, like, I'm curious to see how this plays out, as it's one of the first things I feel like we've seen him be very open about it playing at his heartstrings. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ford's been very, very closed up until that point. And now I think he's finally starting to understand, like, the group he's with are actual people, like, they're people he may be able to trust. I feel like Ford's that one that's hard to trust, but if then you break his trust after he gives it to you, there's no second chance. So
Yeah, it's weird because he's lawful good and he like tries to be a good person, but at the same time I feel like he's like paladin lawful good, where he's like very strict and
Yeah,
like
he's like lawful based on his law, not like the
Yeah.
overarching law of the land. It's like his law. He believes this. He's gonna go for that. I just hope we get Ford stuff before I'm sure they're gonna like have to leave because they got a baby.
I know.
I don't want them to rush their stories, but then it's gonna suck for them to probably not be here for a while.
Yeah, because we know that's gonna happen eventually,
Oh,
and it's getting closer and closer.
Every episode, the last few episodes, I've been like, they're gonna leave. They're gonna leave. Like every
Yeah.
episode, I've been like, this is gonna be the episode where like Laura comes up with an excuse to leave. Like I literally keep expecting her to just like be like, "Hey, I'm taking Kiri."
That's what I keep
gonna
thinking.
Go find her.
Like, oh yeah, we're gonna
Parents,
stay
guys,
here
like-
and take care of Kiri us together.
Every
Start a family now.
episode.
Bye guys.
yeah, it's. I'm wondering, are both of them gonna leave?
More than
Like
likely.
both? Okay.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, like what do you guys think? Like how long do you think they'll be gone? Because I mean theoretically they could come back in a few weeks. Like
I mean, you know, like, there's always a Skype option, but like,
yeah.
Yeah, I
don't
feel
know.
like
what's
they
normal
wanted-
paternity maternity. Sorry, go ahead.
6 weeks.
But that's for an 8-hour workday,
Right.
not I want to have 3 hours of fun with my friends.
Right. But also, it's going to
Yeah,
depend
like
on
we-
sleep schedules and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot to play into it.
That's their first.
I feel like
kid.
they'd want to at least But yeah, and they probably, I bet, I mean, the way they are, knowing, I'm not knowing them, but like kind of seeing how they are, I bet they kind of want, they have the flexibility to be able to spend a lot of time at home. I feel like the first couple months they'd kind of want to hang with the kids.
Yeah, I imagine they're gonna want to stay at home, but then they also have in July that switch over, so there's a little bit of a break then too. So it might just be that they come back after that break anyway, and like take sort of like a 2-month window-ish off. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's coming up, isn't it?
Well, they're only breaking for 1 week.
It's next week.
Yeah.
Like, not
Oh,
this
is
week,
it?
week
Oh,
after.
dang! I thought it was like.
No, yeah, it's
not
first
this
week
upcoming Thursday, but the Thursday
It's
after
like way
that.
later.
Yeah,
It's the day after the 4th of July.
4th of July, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's coming up. I don't know when she's due.
now. It's been 9 months.
It's like right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Interesting.
end of June, early July.
So if anything, like this will probably be their last episode this week if they're still good this week.
Granted, they
because
do
won't
both do a
one
lot
next
of
week.
stuff behind the scenes, so like they still
Yes.
be working. Laura's
Yeah.
like all merch, everything. Travis is like business side. But yeah, so next episode we go into a prison by choice.
How much is Bo gonna hate that?
Oh, absolutely.
Bo is
Help!
like,
Help!
Up.
Yeah, who all is gonna get to leave the prison?
Who goes in and who comes out?
Who else gonna leave the prison, but like legally?
Of their own volition. Like, yeah, legally is the good word.
Yeah.
The gang spends some time behind bars.
Yeah, the gang goes to prison.
Again.
That 1 week of break is really supposed to be 6 months for them to stay in prison.
That could be interesting. Like if they go
the
to
gang serves time.
Yeah.
They all come out all rough and tumble.
I do really wish they had done somebody. I think you had said it last time in the podcast, but like somebody had mentioned that they could have done a hangover episode
Yeah.
where they
Yep.
introduce Helper Duke, and then the next episode it's a day later, and they have to like backtrack and figure out what the hell happened.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
But I like this
They did
idea
a
where they.
tiny bit of.
A
They did
little
a tiny bit of, but they got to experience the party.
I hope Trent gets word that Caleb was sighted in the prison. I want him to dangle freedom for Caleb in return for working for him. That would be fun if they go to prison. Yeah. I don't know. Does anybody have any closing remarks on episode 24 of Critical Role and episode 100 of Critical Reroll?
Thanks for 100 episodes, guys.
Yeah.
It's been a real
Thank you guys for
time.
the truest thing a person.
It's been a while.
It's been a period of time.
Guys, look like you're having a lot of fun.
Well,
So
knowing these guys,
You guys aren't jaded yet.
seeing the back end, you know, they put a lot of work in, and it's nice to see that it's made it this far. And I'm glad that I could be a part of it too and help out.
Yeah.
We're glad you could be a part of it too.
Can't say
because
anything
it
nice.
gets
Don't say anything
stressful.
at all.
Yeah, it gets really stressful. Thanks for
yeah.
everyone in chat, everyone who hangs out, everyone who listens. If you're listening on the audio version of this, what's up?
Yeah,
yo?
we've never given you guys a shout out. Thanks for listening.
Oh,
Thanks
hello,
for-
auditory nerds.
Let's
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
take
so
a
sorry
second.
for all the stuff we just read
Oh,
from
no.
chat without giving you context.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed our podcast, 400 episodes. It's been really great having you along the ride with us. Okay, you're welcome.
Why are you Delilah?
I don't know. Yeah,
You just
so
caused 4
Yeah,
accidents.
I did. You know, I can live with that.
Matt
We-
ASMR Bernathi.
no.
Nope.
We've
Yeah.
actually gotten to talk to so many different critters
Yeah.
because of this, both in terms of like we've had I have an Excel chart somewhere. It's not perfect, but we've had over 100 different critters on the show at some point in time, whether hosting or guesting or whatever. Plus all the people in chat, all the people listening, all the people that talk to us in Twitter and like share stuff with us. So thank you for whatever it is, however we've interacted or been parts of stuff together. Thanks for sharing like the Critical Role love with us.
Yeah, sorry we've been a little bit like weird and flexing and changing lately. It wasn't until like the week before the new campaign started that we decided we were even going to do this again. So
Yep.
we're just figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry that we don't really have like critter guests on and stuff anymore, but we figured out that this was probably the best format for us to do this with also being able to keep our sanity. So
Yeah.
thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to be a host of the show, and
Yeah.
thank you to all those that came who have been doing this for so long, because
There's been a ton.
there have been a lot of hosts before us, especially before me and Kate, who just started 2 months ago, and hats off to them. Hats off to all those who have been here, the 4 others who are currently
Who have
sitting
been
right
consumed and their power passed on to the next group.
Yeah. Oh my god, thanks to all the previous, like I said, guests and hosts. We've had so many like freaking cool people, like big name Critical Role artists, like wow,
We
friggin'
have-
Andrew of Crit Role.
I was gonna say Stats
used to be
started
one
it
of
with
the
us.
hosts. Like yeah, like one, like oh my gosh, we've had some like seriously cool,
We've had Meg
awesome,
and Joma and
fun,
Wendy.
awesome times. Yeah, absolutely. Jet. From like people from us, I mean, every continent, and like, well, we haven't reached Antarctica yet. We gotta reach out to the critters there.
Oh, that's where
I
I'm
guess.
streaming from right now.
Oh, okay, good. We got it. We got them all, guys.
Gotta
We
catch
got
'em all.
Location.
So
But yeah,
Jess, you're
Weather
close
looks
enough.
really
Go.
good down there, Hank.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
they've got Google fiber optics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is gonna wrap it up. Everyone say where they can find you. I know it's listed on the thing, but say it for those listening. And
You
they're
can find me at GeoNerd on Twitter.
you can find me at go_jg on Twitter also.
you.
This is.
Where
Where we go?
Go, you go. I think I was supposed to start, but I didn't. Go.
I was following the order from before.
Yeah, you're doing it right.
That's what I was doing too.
Matt fucked up.
I'm Kate, and you can find me at CEE. I don't know how to spell my own name. CEE Monster at Twitter.
I'm Ben, and you can find me at Bardic Puppy on Twitter.
And I'm Herky. You can find me on Google Earth in Antarctica.
And I was Matt. You can find me at Matt_Abernathy. I'm changing my name after this. I can't be seen with you people. Matt_Abernathy on Twitter. Everybody say a bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.